So the general rule is that there is no duty to render aid. Okay, it's the government as a baseline principle. There is no duty under the 14th Amendment due process clause or life, liberty, and and so forth. That there is no duty for your government to protect you, to help you. That's why no insult, but most cops are not first responders or second responders. I'm a first responder because I'm responsible for my own safety.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the way you really should be looking at it. Manny is my second responder. If I can't protect myself, then I mean, I'm just being like, that's how I look at it. That's why I love my guns and so forth. But the point, that's why I'm in incredible shape. Like I'll kick some serious ass, right? So
no doubt.
So since the government is a second responder, there really is no duty to protect. Now, there is a duty if there's a special relationship. And special relationships can come in a couple forms. The first one is when the person's in your custody. This kid who was shot is not in government custody.
No.
The other duty generally comes when the officers do something that puts the person in peril and that is foreseeable, right? There was a case where an officer stopped a drunk driver on the highway and allowed actually it's two cases, but this one allowed the passenger to walk to the next off-ramp and got creamed because the person stumbled into a travel lane. Was it foreseeable that a drunk passenger on a closed access highway could potentially cross that white line?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they own that one.
Yeah.
You also probably, a lot of people saw that video where that officer saw that really drunk female walking down the highway. This is a recent video. And she was begging for a ride off the highway. And the cop, I can't get in his mind, but he's like, no, that's not our policy. Maybe he was in a different town or something like that.
Right.
He wasn't willing to make an exception. And, but then the next thing, the dash cam shows, then she was like sleeping in the highway and a semi truck ran over her. Could there be liability there? Potentially.
Yeah.
So going back to this situation, Manny, look, and of course, this is just a very shallow interpretation or analysis of this case, right? But the thing I'd look for in these cases is, did the police prevent other people from rendering aid? In other words, a lot of these shooting cases, the cops are like, get back. And the family members are like, my baby. And they're like, no, we got this and so forth. Now, guess what that turns into? Yeah. You own that.
Yeah. Someone could be taking life-saving measures.
Somebody could be doing compressions, putting a finger in the hole, whatever, And so that is foreseeable harm. DeShaney versus Winnebago County is your go-to case. That's a U.S. Supreme Court case. And briefly what happened there was a little boy was being very abused, not sexually, but physically abused, mentally abused, but physically abused by his father. The mother, I guess they were split up, and the mother was calling social services, CPS, please help please, he's abusing my son. And, Winnebago County did a shitty job trying to follow up on it. And they could have, they could have done more, and if they would have done more, then maybe it would have saved this kid. But the father beat this kid into a coma. He actually, to my knowledge, the kid is still in a vegetative state today. I'm not sure he actually died yet. But the kid was basically living through a straw for the rest of his life. And it's a very sad case. It doesn't get any sadder. And the Supreme Court said there's no duty by CPS. They're just not, they didn't cause it. There's no, you have to do something that's foreseeable. They didn't do anything that was foreseeable. I know they did not do something. They omitted doing their action, but again, there's no duty to render aid. At the end of the day, that's what it is. You have a professional and ethical, moral. You can definitely get in, all these cases. If a cop is not responding to a call, there was a case in Miami. You have the video with Duty Intervene, where a sergeant and her squad are ignoring baby unconscious calls. They all got fired. And they should be fired because they're drinking their cappuccino or the Cuban coffee, whatever. But as far as lawsuit goes, there's no relationship there.